The new Deadpool and Wolverine trailer just dropped. And obviously that is something everybody is now talking about. I think just on Ryan Reynolds' YouTube channel alone, just Ryan Reynolds' YouTube channel, because it's on a number of official channels, but on Ryan's channel, in 24 hours, it got over 21 million views. So I don't know how much the total is when you start incorporating in all the official channels and stuff like that. But just on Ryan's channel, 21 million views. Tell me again, remember we had some people writing in yesterday saying Deadpool's not going to make any money, it's going to flop. Tell me again how this thing's going to flop. Anyway.
Someone yesterday said, oh, this is the definition of try hard. It's kind of cringe. I'm like, what would you like them to do? That's the definition of hipster. Just knock it off.
Yeah, I know. I know what I'm talking about. Anyway,
you're the guy that you're the guy that talks a lot at the parties and everybody hears, but no one's listening.
Nobody's listening. So it's brought Marvel back up to the forefront of the conversation. And again, listen, I've had a number of people accuse me over the past year or so that I'm a Disney hater. There are aspects of Disney I definitely hate. I'm not going to lie. I could, I almost on a daily basis think to myself, Disney can go fuck themselves. But I am not a Marvel hater.
No, I know.
I love Marvel films.
By the way, I looked it up and it off of Google, 365 million views of Deadpool and Wolverine, most watched movie trailer of all time. 365 million. That's
really
aggregate. Yeah.
Huh.
That's Hollywood Reporter. So that's not just nobody.
So Hollywood Reporter is saying it is now the highest viewed trailer of all time.
I'll bring it up.
Billion, baby.
There you go.
Deadpool and Wolverine, most watched movie trailer of all time with 365 million views. Well, I'm going to have to talk about that a little bit later. When did that story drop?
Let me look.
Does it got a timestamp on it? Anyway, I'll move on.
1:05 p.m. So
yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay. What's that, Ray?
Not only do people think you're a Disney hater, but there's also a half that think you're a Disney shill.
Oh,
so
I know. I know. If I had a nickel for every time I literally opened up comments where one comment says, you're such a Disney sellout, and the next thing, why are you such a Disney hater? If I had a nickel for every time that happened. But listen, I'm a big Bob Iger fan. There's a lot of things about Marvel that I really like. But as a Marvel fan, the last couple of years, I've just been calling it like I see it. Marvel, while putting out some fantastic stuff in the last couple of years, they've put out more mediocre to bad stuff than they have in the previous 13 years. They're in a decline. And I think we can all agree with that. Like, whether you think they've declined only 2% or whether you think they've declined 80%, I think we can all agree that since Endgame, they've taken a bit of a decline. Can we at least agree on that without getting into a big fight?
Can we also agree that we're probably comparing it to the greatest era in comic book history? Probably
100% we are.
Yeah, you're coming off.
Yeah. But a decline is a decline.
Yeah, a decline is a decline.
Like, I would rather have Marvel's decline than the peak of the DCEU.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm a DCEU
Don't bring
fan.
them in here.
I'm just saying.
Don't open the door.
I'm just saying I'm a fan of that too.
I mean, the peak of the DCEU, let's face it, was Comic-Con when they announced all the movies.
Yeah, I mean, listen. Marvel could learn a thing or two from DC
They had
about how to
big
put on
yes.
good Comic-Con presentations,
Yes.
man. Anyway, so it got me to thinking about, you know, Bob Iger is now back. Kevin Feige has his authority again. Can Marvel get back to that place of dominance? Can Marvel get back to that place where, and I've said this before, but it used to be a new Marvel movie is coming out. I went in expecting to have an amazing time because they were putting out banger after banger after banger. Okay. I would go into Marvel films expecting an amazing time. Today, when a Marvel film comes out, I go in hoping I just have a good time. I've gone from expecting amazing to hoping for good. And that is a deterioration of where they used to be. So how can they get back to this place of dominance? How can they reestablish themselves as the king of the mountain? I got 10 steps that they need to follow. Kevin, I hope you're listening. Because I'm the guy. Because I'm clearly the guy he should listen to.
And he's looking at you just like that. He's like, give me your damn 10
Is that
steps.
our new nickname for Feige? Special K? Listen up, Special K. I'm going to drop some knowledge on you, son. All right. Listen, I'm going to start with the most obvious one, just to get it out of the way, because this is clearly the most obvious one. Step one to reestablishing Marvel's dominance come 2025 is simply this. Number one, make better product. It's as complicated and as simple as that. When you put out a movie, or in some cases a Disney Plus series, make damn sure it is the top quality it can be. I understand that under Chapek, I mean, you've come out and said under Chapek, they just said, screw it, just rush out as much shit as you can. I understand that, but you don't have that excuse anymore. Because you got Papa Iger is back and he's got your back, so you don't have that excuse anymore. The number one clear, obvious, this is why we're making it number one and getting it out of the way first is make better product. Because you know, when you sit in a screening room watching dailies of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, you know you're looking at garbage. So stop. Take it back to the drawing board, reset, and re-go. All right. Not everything is going to be Winter Soldier. I understand that. Not everything is going to be, Shang-Chi. Not everything is going to be Infinity War. I understand that. That's fine. The middling Marvel films are still really good. The first Doctor Strange, the first Ant-Man, the first Captain Marvel. I mean, these are still good, solid films. Sometimes you're going to make them amazing. Sometimes you just make them good and solid, but you know damn well when you're looking at something bad. Don't accept something bad anymore. Make better product. All right. That's the first thing they need to do that we all know. Everybody knows that. Let's get into some more finer points. Number two, manage output. This is another thing. I'm trying to put the more obvious ones up front here. But again, what we found out, because Marvel executives have come out and made it public that under Bob Chapek, they had a new mandate. Make as much as you can, as fast as you can, and shove it out the door as quickly as you can. Right? They need to do exactly what Bob Iger said they were going to do. We're going to reel back in how much we produce. That doesn't mean make one thing a year, but this whole thing of trying to get 4 movies and 4 Disney Plus series all out in the same year, that can't be the mentality. Because the more you make, the more diluted your output is going to be. I don't care how brilliant Kevin Feige is. He can only oversee and manage and keep a tight grip on so many things at once. Yeah. And the more you go outside of that, you're starting to spread yourself thin.
You mentioned the other day when we were talking about Sam Raimi and his comments on Sam Raimi saying, I need a guy I can trust. Okay. On one hand, to your point at that time, that was showcasing Raimi's abilities. At the same time, when he said those words, he was underwater, Feige.
So. It just showed that Feige could not run Marvel the way he used to run Marvel when it was in its glory days, which is, hey, listen, Kevin Feige is the biggest control freak in Hollywood. He's the number one studio that has interference is Marvel by Kevin Feige, but that's what made Marvel great. Mm-hmm. And he's got to be able to manage the amount of output so he can properly oversee it and properly run it. All right. So step one, make better products. Step two, manage output. Third step, make movies your number one priority. Now listen, as much as I absolutely love WandaVision, I do. I still think it's the best thing Marvel's put out on Disney Plus. The reality is, I don't believe it's coincidental that the downturn in the overall quality of the MCU product started when they started making Disney Plus shows. And I'm not saying don't make Disney Plus shows, okay? I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying make your feature films your number one priority. Make sure the lion's share of your energy, effort, finances, and focus is on your movies, because the health and well-being of the MCU rests on the back, not of your Disney Plus shows, but of your theatrical feature films. Mm-hmm. The stronger they are, the stronger everything in the MCU will be. The weaker they are, the weaker everything in the MCU would be. So get back to making movies your number one priority. Not ignoring Disney Plus, not tossing your Disney Plus shows, but just make sure you got your priorities damn straight and that your feature films are your number one priority.
It became a bit of a wag the dog situation.
Yes, that's a good comparison, actually. All right. Make better product, manage your output, make movies number one priority. Number 4, make Disney Plus shows standalone stories. Now, a couple of them have done this, right? They have done this. For example, Moon Knight. I ended up being kind of disappointed with Moon Knight, but what Moonlight truly was, it was insular, right? It was a standalone story. Where they really make mistakes was, say, something like the Marvels, where you're taking characters from Disney Plus shows and now just trying to make a feature film out of them. It's like, yeah, the audience recognized Captain Marvel, but clearly Captain Marvel was only 1/3 of the leads of this film. And the other two, the trailers make us feel like we're supposed to know who they are, and I have no idea who they are. Why on earth am I going to go see this movie? Stop trying to make Disney Plus and the movies interchangeable and mandatory for each other. Yeah, I mean, we don't have a wide selection palette to make that equation from, but I think it's enough. The Marvels proved it's a disastrous combination.
It felt like for a little bit that they're trying to use the Disney Plus shows to get people into theaters when it should be reversed. It should be the movies that make you want to watch Disney Plus show, the Disney Plus shows.
That is exactly right. That is exactly right.
Oh, really?
And
well, that's how the excitement of the Disney Plus shows started. Obviously,
Yes.
the MCU launched it all, and then they were like, and they're gonna have these other these series, and we thought, oh, but different actors, right? We literally thought it wouldn't actually be the actors from the movies. Oh no, it's gonna be them too. So we all got excited. But
yeah,
then,
and here's the problem. Okay, here's the problem with that. It used to be the key, the single biggest key to the success of the MCU for its first 10, 15 years was the fact that Kevin Feige made sure that every new Marvel movie was a valid entry point for a brand new fan.
right?
I told the story. I had a friend, you guys know her, watched the very first Marvel film they watched was Infinity War. They didn't feel lost at all. Clearly they missed some of the nuance, but they totally understood what was basically going on, totally felt good. Somebody could walk into Guardians of the Galaxy, watch that, having never seen another MCU before. And so because every single project that Kevin Feige did in Marvel, even though they were interconnected, he made sure every new movie was a valid entry point for a brand new viewer. And so the MCU grew and grew and grew and grew because people could jump on at any time. The moment where I really recognized that they had fallen away from that was Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Because it's like anybody who hasn't seen WandaVision is going to be totally lost. It's going to feel so random and out of nowhere. It's like, wait a minute, Wanda's a bad guy? What? And this whole idea of trying to tie in everything with Disney Plus on the TV side, which not everybody is watching, with your theatrical films, which should be your main impetus and your number one priority, it's a recipe for disaster. I believe they need to make Disney Plus shows stand-alone stories. Reference the larger MCU, like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. used to do. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was completely isolated from the MCU, but they would often reference the MCU to make you feel at home.
Sure.
Do that. That's fine. Just don't do this Marvel's bullshit again where it's all of a sudden now it's Deadpool and Moon Knight. It's like everybody's going to go, who the hell's Moon Knight? Well, it was a Disney Plus show. You got to make sure you go watch it. So now you're giving me homework I have to do before I go to see your movie. That's a recipe for failure. So number 1, make better product. 2, manage output. 3, make movies number 1 priority. 4, make Disney Plus shows standalone stories. And number 5, hire writers who are fresh voices or at least have better track records. Now, I know it's not Marvel, okay? But let's take a breath and hold up as an example the glory that is known as Madam Web. We should have all known. We should have all known that going into Madam Web, it would be a disaster because all you had to do was look at who was writing it. The creators of Gods of Egypt, What were some of the other ones that those guys wrote?
Oh crap!
Like one of the Dracula movies, and like some of the truly worst cinema of the past 20 years was written by the same writers who did Madam Web, which led us to write, what are we doing? Sony, like, do you even care if this movie's any good? You can't, like, a good chef will always say it starts with good ingredients, right?
Oh, they wrote Morbius.
Oh yeah, also the writers of Morbius. And what was some of the other ones?
Power Rangers.
Right, which I didn't hate.
I didn't hate either.
That was like one of the ones we felt like, well, that's sort of a win.
Dracula Untold.
Yeah, Dracula Untold.
The last
Dracula shouldn't have been
The
told.
last Witch Hunter was just so bad. Basically, look, all you had to do, like, it just makes us question whether Sony was even going to try to make the movie any good. If you start with bad ingredients, you're going to end up with a bad burger.
Here's a funny thing. Their best thing that they wrote was Lost in Space, the TV series.
That is the best thing they wrote, and that was actually pretty good.
Maybe they should have went to Disney Plus and wrote those shows.
Oh,
instead, I don't know.
but it just creates an example of, listen, it's okay to go out and get new voices, new writers, fresh writers, as long as Kevin Feige himself clearly lays out the direction he wants the movie to go and then works closely with them. If that happens, bring in new, fresh writers, or if you want more experienced writers, they don't have to all be Academy Award winners. Just make sure they have better track records, because if you start with a bad script, it's going to be really hard. I don't care if it's Ryan Coogler directing it. If you start with a bad script, it's going to be hard to end up with a good movie. So make sure you focus on that. Okay. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Liquid IV. You know, summer is just around the corner, and Anna and I have some of our favorite activities coming up, from hiking, swimming, going camping. But in order to do all that, you gotta stay hydrated, because you need hydration that keeps up with every moment. Just a single stick of Liquid IV makes ordinary hydration extraordinary. And for me, preparing a glass is the easiest thing in the world. Simply open up a packet, pour it into your glass of water, and enjoy. And guys, there's a reason that Liquid IV is the #1 powdered hydration brand in America. It has 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink. Just tear, pour, and live more. Just 1 stick plus 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. With 8 vitamins and nutrients, non-GMO and free from gluten, dairy, and soy. There's no artificial colors or sweeteners, and it's got 4 delicious sugar-free flavors: white peach, green grape, raspberry melon, and lemon lime. So turn your ordinary water into extraordinary hydration with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use the code Campea at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code Campea at liquidiv.com. Let's move on to the next one. Number 6. Reestablish Marvel movies as events. It used to be, back in the day, like 2017, when a new Marvel movie was coming out, it is something we circled on our calendars. It's something we counted. It's like we had little Christmas Advent. Did any of you guys have this at home? Your parents would put up a calendar on the wall and a little candy on each day leading up to Christmas. And each day you'd wake up and you'd take the candy and eat it because you see you're one day closer to Christmas. That was what it was like when a new Marvel movie was coming out. It was an event. It meant something. It was big. It was culturally relevant. That doesn't happen anymore. Now it's just next chapter in the MCU. Next chapter in the MCU. It's like watching or missing 1 or 2 episodes of a show.
And here's 40 more characters you're never going to follow again.
You're never going to follow again, and that you've never heard of, and we don't know if we'll revisit. My God, they put out Shang-Chi. That movie's amazing. It's been 3 years. We haven't seen hide nor hair of the character again. Yeah. Like, what are we doing? But reestablish, get back to think that when you're putting out a Marvel movie, let the public feel that you think it's big and important, and they just haven't done that.
And one of the biggest problems is, it's a feeling that I think all of us have been missing for quite a while, is after the Marvel movie finishes, we're excited to see the next one. That feeling is not there anymore, and that makes the next one an event for us, at least. Oh, when that ties it into point number 1, right? Make better product, because this is all connected to each other that way. When the last time that happened was like Infinity War, when it ended, I was like, oh, that's a feeling of, oh, I need more. I need to see the end. That's what's been missing a lot, or at least for me. like the feeling of what's next. I'm not asking what's next anymore.
No, and again, that goes back to one of the other things about making sure your product is better. All right. So reestablish Marvel movies as events. Number 7, prioritize quality, but don't leave out interconnectedness. Now, one of the big criticisms that has been around about the Marvel movies the last number of years is, Rob will bring this up a lot, saying, I don't even know what the story of the MCU is right now.
Yeah.
Like in the first 15 films, you knew what the basic story of the MCU was. Since Endgame, nobody has any idea what the basic story of the MCU is. It's called the multiverse saga. Yeah, but they've never defined what is the multiverse saga. We don't know how this connects to anything else. Now, I've always said that doesn't matter to me as much as long as you make the movies really good. Like, I couldn't tell you at all how Shang-Chi really connects into anything else in the MCU, but the movie was great, so that's the most important thing. But they have completely ignored that interconnectedness. The thing that made the cinematic universe a cinematic universe. So while I 100% want them to focus, number 1 priority, making the movie as good as it can be, don't ignore that interconnectedness. Mm-hmm. It's the thing that not only makes the movies feel, but it makes we as the audience feel like it's a part of something bigger. And to your point, Ray, when you have, number 1, make better product, and number 7, prioritize quality, but don't leave out your interconnectedness, that helps increase our anticipation about what might come next. Because since Endgame, we watch one movie and the next movie's coming out, we have no idea if there's anything even remotely connecting them together. Again, prioritize quality, but stop ignoring the interconnectedness at the same time. All right. Number 8 is something I've mentioned a couple of times. Balance out old and new characters. Because since Endgame, it's kind of felt like, while we have had Thor, Love and Thunder, it's kind of felt like a desperate rush to bring in a whole new slate of characters. You know what it's felt like? That 1986 Transformers animated movie where they just killed all of the Autobots and Decepticons in the first 10 minutes and then replaced them all with a whole new set of Transformers.
Called a good start.
God, I hated that movie so much. I am still angry to this day about that goddamn movie, making all the toys that I spent years collecting suddenly irrelevant.
That was a cynical toy company. Like, what can we do to sell new ones?
What was not Hot Rod and Rodimus Prime, Ultra Magnus. That was it. It's like, well, you better throw away your Transformers, your Optimus Prime toy now. You got to get Ultra Magnus. Ultra, fuck you. I spent my entire childhood collecting these toys, and you killed them all off in the first 10 minutes of the movie. Screw you, Hasbro. Anyway, can you tell I still have issues to work through about that 1986 Transformers movie?
That felt like a Spaceballs comment right there. Ultra,
fuck you. I'm cup. What the fuck is a cup? I don't know. Anyway, yes, I still have to deal with this. I should go seek some therapy on this. At any rate.
Or we'll buy you those toys again.
John, relax. I'll buy you the toys again. So, here's the thing. I get it that Tony died and Cap is now old man Cap. Okay. But you've got to balance out your OG. Well, John, they made Hawkeye. Yeah, but they made Hawkeye to replace Hawkeye. You got to balance out. Right, I said this the other day. It's like a good sports team. You got to have a locker room that's a mix of the new young guns and the older vets.
Yeah, you got the vets.
So do you think they could do better if let's say a role, they want to kill off a role, they want to introduce someone else, you think they could do better in the handshake of handing over something, right? Because they
I'm going to stop you right there.
Yeah.
Because we're going to get to that.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to stop there because we're going to get that. So just balance out the older characters with the newer characters. Don't just have 7 new movies with all new characters and stuff like that in a row. Make sure we're putting in a lot of the OG stuff. Anyway. All right. Number 9. So we're heading into the final couple ones here. Kill off characters to raise the stakes. Now, to be fair, a lot of people might be saying, John, you're constantly saying that they're going to bring back Tony and Steve. Yeah, they will, because they are the heart and the soul of the MCU. At some point, they're going to come back, probably in Secret Wars. Maybe just for a film, maybe just for 2 or 3 films. I don't know, but at some point, they will probably come back. But again, one of my biggest criticisms, even in the greatest glory days of the MCU, has been it's the Marvel fake death universe. They never actually killed anybody off. The only time they've done it was Quicksilver, but I never felt that death because I never believed he was actually going to be dead because Marvel, that's the problem. When you spend so many of your movies fake deathing everybody, when somebody actually does die, you don't feel it because you don't actually believe they're gone. But they actually did stick with it with Quicksilver. I'll give them that.
I guess and Black Widow, but I feel like her lawyers finished that one. That was the coup d'etat.
Yeah. I'll give them Black Lawyer. I'll give them Black Widow. Next, from Kevin Feige, Black Lawyer, coming to a theater near you. So,
the Dark Justice, bringing Dark Justice to the courtroom. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
Let's move on.
So, I mean, all I can think about now is Seinfeld's lawyer in the finale of Seinfeld. He's so great. So like with Black Widow was kind of like Black Widow was an OG. It went all the way through, and then they did a prequel. That one kind of worked. I would say, like, even do the Quicksilver thing a couple of times. Introduce a new character. Maybe even in the first movie they're in, maybe the second movie they're in. Actually, you don't have to do 7 or 8 of them. Just 1 or 2. Do some significant deaths in the MCU to raise the stakes. Because I'll tell you what, I've told this story before for you guys who've been watching the show. You know, in Infinity War, while during the big end scene when everybody's getting dusted, and people were wailing and crying in the theaters. I don't want to go, Mr. Stark.
Oh,
and everyone was crying. And
I declare.
That's what he sounded like. I don't want to go, Mr. Stark.
I do declare I'm Dustin.
I do declare like molasses in your mouth.
There's been a murder.
There's been a murder.
Okay, off the rails. Let's go.
We're going into the office way too much. So the problem, like, while that was all happening, well, I thought the scenes were really good. Yeah, I just know they're all coming back. Like, yeah, Peter's going to be back. T'Challa's going to be back. Everybody's disappointed. Winter Soldier's going to be back. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. So I didn't feel it at all. That's the consequence. When you constantly fake death people, you don't even really feel it. So if you do a couple, come out swinging 2025, 2026, come out swinging, have a couple of significant deaths and keep them dead, it raises the stakes. So the next time you do a fake death, maybe it hits people like a surprise. But anyway. All right. So off of kill off characters to raise the stakes, we go into this. Diversify and take chances. I talked about this a little bit the other day on the show. We as film fans will tell studios we want them to take risks, but then we will crucify studios when they take a risk and it didn't work, like it turns out badly. Mm-hmm. The whole premise, the whole definition of taking a risk is you are risking it not going well, right? Otherwise, it's not a risk. I don't want Kevin Feige and Marvel to be scared off. They've had a couple of drop balls in the last couple of years, for sure. But I don't want them to get scared of taking risks. Even when we as fans lose our shit, when they do what we ask them to do, take a risk, and then it turns out to be crap, and then we crucify them for taking the risk. I mean, call a crap movie, but I want you to still take big swings. I still want you to point to the fences and aim for the stars and take big shots. You take big shots, you're going to lose. You're going to miss shots. You try to hit a home run, you're going to strike out more. But we want you to do that once in a while. And one of the things Marvel always did really good in the early days is diversified their storytelling. All the movies were different from each other. One movie, like the first Ant-Man, was like a heist movie. Winter Soldier was like a 70s political thriller. Ant-Man 2 was really more like a comedy. Yet Doctor Strange started to toy with the horror element a little bit. Every movie kind of had its own kind of subgenre. They diversified it up. And when I speak of diversity, I mean that in representation too. Continue to diversify your storytelling. Have more movies with black characters. Have more movies with Asian characters. Have more movies with female leads, because it's shown that people like diversity. I mean, don't go out and like, I still don't know why they're doing Ironheart. I never heard a single person in the world ask for an Ironheart thing. So maybe different characters. Still be wise and selective about which stories and which characters you're going to do it with, but don't stop diversifying your storytelling. Don't stop diversifying your representation. Don't stop swinging for the fences. And we as audiences will try to work on not, like, we'll give you a hard time when you make a bad movie. Yes, but we won't give you a hard time for taking a risk. And if they can do those things, if we go back to this, number 1, make better product overall. Number 2, manage your output. Number 3, make movies the number 1 priority. Number 4, make Disney Plus shows standalone stories. Number 5, hire writers who are fresh voices or at least have better track records. Number 6, reestablish Marvel movies as events. Number 7, prioritize quality, but don't leave out the interconnectedness. Number 8, remember to balance the old and the new characters. Number 9, kill off characters to raise the stakes. And number 10, diversify with your stories and your representation and take chances. If they can do these things, and that's a big if. In 2025, well, first of all, in 2024, we got Deadpool and Wolverine, which gives them a golden opportunity to really kickstart again. Then in 2025, we've got Captain America, Brave New World, we got Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, and Blade. Allegedly, we're getting Blade. If they can do these things, they can reestablish themselves as the most powerful force in the movie business. If they don't, then we're going to continue to see a decline.
And then can I add one last little thing? Like, even beyond 2025, I think Marvel's, if they want to introduce a character to us, they really want to make something. Don't be afraid to do a one-off like they did with the monster movie, the werewolf. What was that? Werewolf by Night.
Well, they're actually backing away from those now, but I loved that.
But
I love the one-shot stories.
Just because if they this character that they want, like they feel they want to like introduce to the world doesn't fit in their universe, don't be afraid just to make a one-off. If it's really that important to this character's that, and then maybe find a way later on. You know what I mean? Like, don't be afraid to, don't always feel like everything has to be connected, because we got to care about characters first.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, to all the losers already crying about this, when I say diversity and representation, I'm not saying stop making movies with white guys in it. I'm just saying, make sure you don't get into the habit of what Hollywood has done for over 100 years, which is purposely excluding other representation. Stop excluding black characters from the movies. Stop excluding female characters from the movies. Stop this 100-year-old agenda of exclusion and embrace telling lots of stories with lots of different types of characters, because you know what? Captain Marvel made $1 billion. Mm-hmm. You know what? Black Panther made well over $1 billion. Shang-Chi was fantastic.
Yeah, where's that at?
Where's Shang-Chi too? So what I'm saying is, I'm not saying replace white actors. No, I am a white guy, in case you didn't notice. I'm just saying, make all these movies and make sure everybody's invited to the party.
Well, I mean, even
that's all I'm saying.
Everyone's saying Werewolf by Night, right? Well, that actor's from Mexico, you know?
Get the best actor for the job too. You know what I mean? It's all hand in hand, whatever.
Okay. All right. Guys, question is for you. What do you think are some of the key steps that Marvel needs to do to reestablish that dominance again? Did you agree or disagree with any of the 10 that I had? Maybe you agreed with them all. Maybe you disagreed with them all. Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.